All right, figured I'd hop on here quick and just make a quick tutorial of Roaster Log, what it does, how it works, why we built it, just kind of run you through. I'm going to move pretty quick, but feel free to ask any questions, just put in a comment or send us an email if you got any thoughts. We set this up as a beta program now. In the short term, I kind of get all the bugs worked out, get all the features built out. I think this is something that could be pretty great for Roaster. So jump right into it. Essentially, we have, our main tabs across the top. The first one we're going to start with right now is our green coffee tab. This is as explanatory as it gets. You can add in some green coffee name, origin. All this can be to your liking, whatever you want. We use Mexican Chiapas beans in our coffee shops currently, so we'll put Mexican Chiapas in Mexico. You can choose kgs or pounds, depending on what you want to work in. For now, I'll use pounds. Now, let's say we got 300 pounds in inventory, and we brought this in at $4.31. And we want to stock minimum of 10 pounds, which that'd be crazy. Let's stock a minimum of 150 pounds. That'd be a full bag. And let's go ahead and add that to inventory. We'll see that show up right here in our inventory. Quantity is 300 pounds and minimum quantity is 150. We also added this. You'll see the stock count pop up. Once you have green coffee added, this will just be a quick pop up where you can either enter it in bags or in quantity just to quickly update your inventory counts. You can add as much or as little coffee as you want here. Depends on your needs, what you're roasting, what you want to do. I'll also point out if you do add some minimum quantities above, or if you do go below minimum quantities. So let's say in here, you set this to 175. You should see here immediately that this is going to show low stock below your threshold, and that should immediately pop up there. You'll be able to see this here in the stock count as well, but that should pop up immediately. So this is green coffee. This is pretty basic, just where you're entering your actual raw green coffee. Then you can next step we'll move on to is what we call roasted products. So this consists of two separate sections. So you have items and packages. So packages was where we'll start. Packages is simple as that. So you'd have, let's say 12 ounce bags. You would potentially have 1 pound bags. You have 5 pound bags. You'd have whatever you want. Set these up however you want to sell them, however you work. Then you have in the roasted coffee press, you have items. So these are actually the items that you're selling to your customers. These are what your customers will see. This is what your POS would have, whatever it may be. So in this case, we use, let's say, Park Coffee. This is what we sell. So we'll say, you don't necessarily need to be this specific, Park whole bean. Right now we put our size in later, so I'm just going to say Park. And then the batch number prefix. This is what we're using currently to track our lot numbers. We tried to come up with a system that works pretty good for lot numbering. I'll show you that here in a minute. But this is how we're doing it. I'm open to feedback on this if someone has other ideas. Then you need to select your green coffee. So of course, this is the 2 coffees we just made. You can see inventory right here. This is current inventory counts. I'm going to choose, in this case, just our regular Mexican Chiapas beans, and our Park is a medium roast. So we'll choose medium, and we shrink about 16.5%. So let's go ahead and create that product. And you'll see that product pop up. I'll create a second one here. Call this one Timber. And we're gonna set our prefix to T. So you can kind of see here in this prefix pop up what that's doing. But basically, it's just the first initial letter. So in this case, we'll choose Mexican Chiapas as well. And this is a dark roast. That one shrinks about 20%. I'm gonna do one last roasted product here. In this case, I'm just gonna call this one Decaf and D. And I'll choose a decaf coffee, and we're going to say roast level probably doesn't need decaf. I should remove that, but for now, I'll just say it's a dark roast. We'll leave that at 20% as well. So now I got my product set up. I have my package size set up and my green coffee set up. So now we're in theory, really that's all the setup we need to do. As a new account, you will need to come in here and you will need to add a roaster. So you will need to have a team of roasters. You can just add yourself. You can add multiple people, whatever you want to do, but you will need to have at least one person in the roasting team set up. Now we're ready to roast. So we have 2 options to roast. The first option is a basic roast logs. This is as simple as a new roast. What you roast? So here's the items we just created. So let's say in this case we roasted Park. It's going to auto-generate this batch number. This is what I was talking about earlier. So basically what we have is the P. That's the initial we set, or the batch identifier that we set. So that's how, like for us, that's how we know it's Park. And then we have 25 for the year 2025, 05 for the month May, and 14 for the date 14. And today's actually the 13th, so I might have some logical programming here to do. Usually this is a Zulu time because it's later in the day. It's probably pulling ahead. So I'll check that, and your database actually be stored correctly. And then the number 1 is first batch. So the first batch of this specific day. So this is how we track this. Green coffee, again, it's kind of redundant here because you're already setting this up back in the item, but just in case, we allow it to be changed here, and then your roaster. I'll select myself here. Again, this is a date thing where it's pulling ahead in Zulu. We're going to go ahead and set that to today. Input weight. So we have a 10-pound roaster. So let's say we roasted a 9-pound batch. It's going to calculate this shrinkage based on the item shrinkage that we already set. Any notes you want to put on the log, and you hit create roast. And that's basically it. Now that's what that's going to do is that's going to create a day. So that's today, Tuesday, May 13th. It's going to create this day, and you'll be able to see any roasts logged on this day. I kind of roll them up. That way it's not super logical right now, but once you get a bunch of days, it's really nice to be able to kind of roll those up there. And then that can just go on. So yeah, as you go, so you do some timber, and auto-generate the number for timber. It's the first batch of timber. And I roasted that, and we'll set it to today again, so it stays on the same. This one I roasted another 9 pounds. This one shrinks more because it's using that, and we're good. So it starts logging it all as well. And essentially here, I guess I'll show real quick. So if you come in here and you choose park again, you can see now the last identifier in the lot number is a 2. That's the second roast or the second batch of the day. And so all of our bags have matching numbers as well. So we'll choose Mexican Chiapas, choose myself. And today, let's do another 9-pound batch and create the log. So now we're good. Yeah, just starts logging it. This is as simple logging as it gets. Go back to dashboard real quick. You can start to see as we log. So you can see our inventory is coming down. So this is directly using the green coffee pounds. I'm sorry, I'm kind of clicking around here a lot, but it's using the input weight. So the green coffee weight will pull from inventory and bring that down as you go. Back on the dashboard, same thing. You can see our production trends taken off. You can see here, we have a quick low inventory pop-up, also a low inventory here, average yield, monthly production. As you get going, these will become more and more valuable. And I can put, any sort of metrics here that someone wants to see. These are kind of just what we use. This reorder timeline, this is going to be pretty difficult until you get going. But the way this essentially works is it's using some logical processing. So it essentially looks at your averages. Like I think it goes back over the past a month or two, and it looks at how much you're using and your expected delivery date. It's trying to calculate based on consumption pattern when you need to order. So it's saying 0 days right now because we have a low stock. So it's saying, hey, you need to be ordering coffee. Also, I don't have much stuff roasted, so it's struggling to calculate that. But as you get this built out, this should start calculating based on your current usage. We estimate you'll be out of coffee X day. That's still kind of in beta, alpha, I guess, trying that, but that is definitely something that we're working on. And then the start new order, I'd love to be able to basically put POs in here where you can cut POs, what you need directly to your suppliers. The last section then, so we've basically covered everything except for the last section, which is demand plan. This is really the fun one that gets, for us, that's really great. So we have a couple different people doing our roasting, and this has been super helpful. So because we have a couple different coffee shops, the way we do it is each of our shops will essentially order from our roastery, and they'll say, hey, I need this many 12-ounce bags for the shelf, and I need this many 5-pound bags. And what it looks like is our roasters will hop in here and they'll say, okay, I need some Park coffee. And these are all the settings you set up earlier. I need 12-ounce bags. They're telling me they need 18 of them. And they're telling me for timber 12-ounce bags, they need 20 of them. And for decaf 12-ounce bags, they need 5 of them. Then they're going to go ahead and say for Park, this is what we use in our espresso machines in one of our stores, we need 15 5-pound bags. And then for timber, we use it in a different store, we need 12. All right, so this is basically the order, quote unquote, that I've gotten from our coffee shops. I'm going to go ahead and hit add to plan. And what's going to do is it's going to go ahead and basically generate this roasting plan. So this is the coffee plan that we have. So we're building out some more features with this, a print option, exporting, some cool stuff like that. But for right now, this is what this is. So this is essentially just telling our roasters, all right, what are we planning on here? So I got 22 batches. And by the way, in the profile, you'll set up your roaster size. So I'm saying we got 10-pound batches. Normally we do 9, that can be adjusted, but saying you got 22 batches, 22 roasts essentially that you have to run. You're going to be going through 197 pounds of coffee. You'll be outputting 167 pounds. That's calculated shrinkage per each item. And then your total number of items. This would be like bagged items, 12-ounce bags, whatever it may be. And then as you can see, you can start scrolling through here. Here's the 18 12-ounce parks. It's going to roll those into 2 batches. There's the 20 12-ounce bags of park. It's going to roll those in. And it just kind of keeps going here. And it does roll them up. So it keeps 5 pounds separate and it keeps 12-ounce separate. Eventually, my goal is, I'm working on this, should have this shortly, is where the Park coffee, for example, in this case, this 75 pounds and this 13.5 pounds should be rolled up into the same roast because you're roasting coffee and you're bagging separately. But for right now, you would come in and let's say you want to start roasting, you're going to work on these 9 batches right here. You can go ahead and hit the roast button, and that's going to bring you into what I call batch tracking. So batch tracking is kind of as you roast, if you get partway through and need to stop, it should save your progress. A different roaster can hop in, keep going right where you're at. But it's as simple as hopping in here and logging your roast. So this function acts the exact same as the roast log function. So right from batch tracking, you can come in, you can click log roast. It's going to pop up all of the pre-filled information. And the reason this is pre-filled is because it knows what you're doing, right? So it knows you're filling Park and it knows what lot it is of the day. So you can see this is the 3rd one because we already logged 2 earlier. Tells you your coffee that you should be using based on how it's set up. Roasted this one, In this specific page, because it's not a generic entry, I'm using the last roaster that was selected. So in this case, I was the last one that was selected. And I'm going to change this date. This should be fixed till we get this live, but change today, so it keeps logging it. And essentially, yeah, you just click go, you hit create roast, and that's logged. And you go on to batch 2. Yep, we're good there. And create roast, and that's logged. And so you just kind of get on this line here and just go through this. I'm noticing here another glitch. It looks like for some reason after 3, we stop counting up. Those are the type of bugs. If you see something like that, please let me know. But that should continue to count up as we go. But that's basically it. Now, if you were to come back to the demand plan, you can see this one's 33% done. And yeah, you can just kind of keep working through that as time allows and roast as needed. So that's essentially it. If we run back to the roast log, you should be able to see, I had a couple of the dates wrong, but there's those roasts that we just did. Actually, those might be right because I did switch days there. So those might actually be right. That might be the 3rd one of the day. I'm actually not 100% sure. But regardless, this should continue to work as expected. Either way, once I get those final bugs worked out. Yeah, so you can see there it changes it to the 13th and the 1st. So there was a few quirks working through them, but should be there. And then back to the dashboard, you see your trends. You should see, should see everything here that you've been doing. Again, want some feedback. Tell me what works for you guys. I don't want to make this too long and crazy of a video, but I do want to make it a software that's helpful, beneficial. I know for our coffee shop specifically, it really has been a game changer for our roasters and even just for tracking inventory, knowing what we have, what's coming, what's going. So anyways, let me know your ideas, what we can add, what we need, and we'll go from there. Really appreciate it. Thanks.